Hey guys, it's Psychosis here, and once again I've got another book review, and this time I'll be reviewing A Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin, and which is the first book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. And this series is immensely popular. If you're seeing this, you probably have already read this series or know of it because it inspired the show Game of Thrones, and everyone loves that show. And today I'll be reviewing this book and seeing for myself if it's worth the hype, if it's really good, overrated, bad. And so yeah. First off, this cover is amazing. It fits some of the things in this book. But yeah. And so anyways, let's get into it. And so first off, this book is not the fastest paced book. That's one of the things. The prologue is very deceptive in that because the prologue is very action based. The first 9 pages of this book are just amazing. It was just a big prologue. I consider it like a perfect fantasy scene. It's like really good, fast paced. And then the book slows down. Like it has action, but it's well placed. It's not just like a constant barrage or onslaught of like violence or action or death. But when the action scenes do appear, they're really good. They're just not a ton of them though. And normally when they talk about battle and war, it's more of a character talking about it, like the aftermath of it basically. Because that's what this is. The way this book is set, the structure of this book seems like it would be the most boring thing in the world, but it's not. Because a lot of the time it's just two or three characters or more just talking and having dialogue and a discussion or conversation in some place with each other. And that sounds like it would be so boring, but no. It was like entertained. I will say George R. R. Martin's really good, and he has a way of just like getting me super invested into the story. Like I was really in this book. Like all I was doing as much as I could for hours on end some days was just reading this book. And I thought it was just really good, and I like his writing. This is my first ever George R. R. Martin book, and I like the way he writes. And so that's the gist of this book is that a lot of it is like just characters talking. And the setup is pretty cool. So it's set up on this like island world. Mainly this island world where it's the Seven Kings. It's called the Sunset Kingdom, the Seven Kingdoms. And as it sounds, there's 7 big main houses and they rule over this land in the north and the south. And each house has like a different cool sigil symbol. And they have these words that are like their motto. And this book mainly follows the main members of the House Stark, and their sigil is a direwolf. And yeah, at the beginning of and so it's their thing and stuff, their story. And that's the way this book is structured too. There's no chapters. Each chapter is basically from a different character's point of view on another side of the world. So one second you'll be following this character mainly who's from their point of view, and then it'll jump the next chapter to another character's. And so, yeah, you're not always having one character or one point of view the entire time, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, so the House Stark follows House Stark, and the main Lord Eddard Stark, Ned Stark. He's one of my more favorite characters of this book. He gets sent by Robert Baratheon, who's the main head king in King's Landing, which is like the main city, to become his right hand man, the guy who actually does everything. So he goes there with him and a couple of his daughters, Sansa and Arya, to just do this job. And then before that, they also find a dead direwolf mother, and she has like 6 puppies. And so each of his 6 children gets a puppy, and they all name them different names. And the coolest one is the last one. My favorite character is his bastard son, Eddard Stark's bastard son, Jon Snow. He gets like this albino direwolf named Ghost, and he's so cool. Yeah, Jon Snow is my favorite character, but the problem is his story is more away. So his chapters don't appear as much, but I was always waiting to get to a chapter of his because he was just a fun character, and he was the one character that seemed to have like actual character growth and an actual challenge of this a plot line of deciding whether he wants to stay and do his responsibilities he took an oath for, or if he should leave and be an outcast for the rest of his life and be hunted down. That's more towards the end of the book, but it made just some really good scenes and him becoming like an overall good character because he's like the only character in this book that's not out to get anything. This book is just a political drama. Everybody's out to get each other. There's scheming, backstabbing, the whole 9 yards. And that's what's so entertaining about this book. That's the main appeal of this book, is just the political activities going on. Everybody's scheming in the end in one way or another. And nobody is safe because like characters, their lives and their fates aren't exactly set in stone. It's not like most stories where, oh, it's a good ending, the heroes live, everything is good. No. There's not exactly a hero in this book besides Jon Snow, and he's doing his thing up north. But yeah, everyone's backstabbing, deceptive. Like this book is literally that Sun Tzu quote, all warfare is based on deception, essentially. That's like the thing. And yeah, you don't know if a character's gonna die in like 10 pages, 100 pages, 200 pages within the next page or next chapter, off page, on the page. Oh yeah, there's some violent deaths in this book. But yeah, nobody's immune. And because it's politics, it's over the pettiest things too. It's wild. And the way this book escalates toward the end is insane because it's like it starts off so chill and so like straightforward, and then within like the first few hundred pages it just escalates and escalates. And yeah, but yeah, this book's pretty cool, but it has flaws. I'm not going to entirely glaze this book. It's not perfect. Nothing is. And this book definitely is not a perfect 10 out of 10. And one of the ways in which it suffers is the world building. Like the world is really cool. He's got a lot of different like cultures and different houses and that. It's really cool. And different houses in different parts of the world, different land masses and that. But it loses all like coolness, and once you realize that it's basically just a reskin of England, and that he was just trying to make a fantasy England, which is cool, but it's also kind of just like the most generic thing you could do. Because he's got like all the kingdoms, and then on the other side of the world, he's got this like these people that remind me of the Mongols, the Dothraki, and they're very about horseback riding and stuff. And then you've got like mountain peoples as well. They live in the woods, and then you've got House Stark. There's the House Lannister. There's the Tullys. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and they all have different sigils. Like the Lannisters are a lion. The Starks have a direwolf, and the book is following the Starks, so you kind of become biased towards them. They're kind of the good guys. Like I said, no one is exactly good in this book. This book doesn't exactly have heroes. It's not like the standard story where it's a hero going on a quest to defeat some dark lord or sorceress and save the day. It's just, this is the world. It's just set in stone. Everybody's out to get something. And the ones who aren't are the characters you're going to fall in love with, at least for me. But yeah, even the map kind of looks like England, like an upside down England in a way. Like, and there's history and stuff. He has this like lore in it. It's cool, but like I said, the world is basically just England, and the names of the houses you realize are just kind of similar to English houses. It's just like, oh, that kind of sucks. And then there's also, I know it's an adult fantasy book, but there is a lot of like sexual content in this book, or at least more than what I normally read, especially at the beginning. And there was like a scene where I was almost I almost gave up on this book. I was a little weirded out by it. There is a weird scene, especially at the beginning. There's a lot more sexual content more in the beginning of the book. And as it goes along, it becomes less and less. It pops up, but it's not too bad. But the beginning is just, there's a lot of it. And yeah, that also threw me off a bit. Because, I mean, it is an adult fantasy book. It's going to be more mature, but yeah. It's just a lot. And there's a ton of characters. This is a very character-driven based book, like I said. It's mostly just characters having dialogue. So there's a lot of names, and you might forget them. You might not remember them. And like I said, because characters' fates aren't set in stone, and you never know what's gonna happen, you don't have to eventually follow them because they could die or be outcast or exiled or imprisoned. You never know. Like, yeah, the fate of characters is not certain always. It's not always the good ending. And yeah, and this book I would say, you needs a lot more attention to read because of that. You need to be more invested into it. This isn't some casual read you pick up and read in a day or two. If it is, good for you. But for me, it took me like about a week or so, week-ish to read. And this is the first book, and this is the smallest book, and it's still like 674 pages long. It's a big book. And yeah, as of now, I was really impressed by this book, despite all that. Besides the world building and the sexual content, and it not being action based, as the prologue would suggest, it's not a high octane story, but it's well paced. It's got a bunch of characters, some better than others. Especially the villains. The villains piss me off, but I guess that's the point of villains. You want villains to not be liked, and this book did a good job of that. Like, there was one girl character, and I literally called her the B word every time she would appear because, like, I could not stand her. She's terrible. And then there's another character, and I just wish I could be in this book to just behead him because he was just, oh, but, like, that's the point. You want good villain characters, and if a villain character pisses you off, that's a good sign. So yeah, the great villains, though. Like I said, there's not exactly heroes, but there are certainly characters that seem like villains. And yeah, just the way things escalate, characters have to start doing things and stepping up. It's great. But yeah, it's not fastest paced. I describe this as like political drama fantasy, more political based fantasy. It's very good though, because it's more about the politics and everyone out to get each other. Game of Thrones, you live or you die type thing. But yeah, that's almost a verbatim quote that a character says in the book too. I'm not gonna say who, but yeah. And yeah, anyways. And then there's mythical kind of swords and very little magic. This book has like so little magic. I've never seen a book with so little fantasy book with so little magic. I mean, it is implied that there's magic, and there used to be dragons, but the dragons are all dead. But like, there's no like spells or magic or sorcery or much of any of that. It's just straightforward action and all that with swords and standard medieval feeling. But yeah, I will give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It is excellent. I I very much like this book despite its flaws and its slower pacing. And yeah, I would highly recommend reading it if you haven't. And yeah, I am definitely invested in the series, and I am going to read all of them. As you can see, there are a lot of books, and they are chunkers. But I am going to read all 5 of them, and maybe even the prequel one that came out. See how the series goes on. But yeah, anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this review, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.